Hey guys, good morning. Today's morning devotion is from Genesis chapter 22. Again, we have these days where we get far and days where we don't get so far. Today we did not get so far. We got stopped up at some time later. So Genesis 22, and I'll read a little bit after just so we know what's going on. Hey, Miss Ruby. It says, sometime later God tested Abraham. He said to him, Abraham, here I am. He replied. Then God said, take your son, your only son, whom you love, Isaac, go to the region of Moriah. Sacrifice him there as a burnt offering on a mountain I will show you. Early the next morning, Abraham got up, and then we can stop there. We'll get into the rest of it later. But the part that really stopped me, or that God drew my attention to, was where it says sometime later. And that means that some time has passed, and now God is coming to test Abraham to see where are we, how are we doing, what's our faith like. And I think sometimes we have to understand that as time passes, we can get comfortable. That's a possibility. That's too oftentimes a reality. But the truth is that we can't get comfortable. We can't get comfortable with the call. We can't get comfortable with the promise. God is always the owner, and we don't become the boss. We don't become the person in charge. We don't become the person calling the shots just because we've been sitting with something for a while, or just because we've been a good steward of something for an extended period of time. All that we are and all that we have is always subject to God, always. And this is a truth that is very contrary to what the world tries to tell us. The world will tell us that if we put in enough time, if we stay in one place long enough, eventually we will rise to the top. It says that eventually we will be the one in charge. We won't have to listen to someone forever, and one day we'll get to tell others what to do, or we'll get to cast the vision, or we'll get to call the shots. And that's not the truth, though. That's not how things are when we're operating and walking in relationship with the Lord. He is always Lord. We never get to sit in the seat of lordship. That's occupied. It needs to stay that way. It needs to stay occupied by God. We don't get to this point. We never get to this point. We will never get to this point where we no longer have to listen to the Lord. No matter how long we've walked with him, no matter how many times we've been obedient in the past, no matter how much God has given to us, no matter how long it's been since the last time God decided to give us an instruction, we never get to this point where we get to stop listening to God, where we get to stop being obedient, where we get a pass on what he tells us to do. God is always to be the master and ruler over us, and whatever he says do, we need to do. Whether we agree with it or whether we desire that for ourselves or not. So in my own reflection, the things that I have, the visions, ideas, dreams, my whole life, none of it is my own. No matter how much I grow and get to know myself and grow in my understanding of who God has called and created me to be, it's still not my life. Not when I claim that God is my Lord. It's his life. I'm borrowing his breath, and I'm living here on this earth to do what he has called me to do. My life is his. It's not my own. And Abraham, we'll get into the whole test, but he's obedient. It says early the next morning, he didn't wait. He obeyed, and he did what God told him to do, whether he agreed with it or understood or not. Even though there had been time later, he has had time with Isaac, and he's probably enjoying him, but God says, go offer him up as a sacrifice. And Abraham's like, okay, yep, you're still the boss of me. I appreciate all you've done, but you still have my loyalty. You are still my Lord. I will still listen. And that needs to be the declaration of our life, no matter how long we get to possess what God has blessed us with, no matter how long we get to steward this life. It should always be that we are seeking to do the will of the Lord. So let's keep that in mind today. Let's not live for ourselves, but let's live obedient to the instruction that God gives us. Have a great day, you guys.